There's probably not a single game during the regular season that gets talked about more than the very first game of the season, the day after. Yeah, some bad and some really bad. We'll get to all that coming up next here. And of course, turn the page to day 2 on Saturday. All that next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Wow, really interesting ninth inning, as fate would have it, with Devin Williams facing him in the top half of the ninth inning. Funny how sports works sometimes, huh? Tough day for Jackson Chourio. Well, really tough day. The Golden Sombrero +1. How about the call by Lane Grindle on the Vinny Capra home run? A tribute to Bob Uecker. All that and more. We'll look ahead at Saturday as well. Good to have you along. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Third year, heading in my third year as the host of Locked On Brewers, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin. And of course, the Milwaukee Brewers are my favorite team, season ticket holder. And of course, I cover the team on a regular basis for a bunch of different media outlets, but it's great to have you along here. Woke up. Yeah, you wake up on that first game of the season, whether they're home or away. Isn't that a great feeling? Saw a lot of people around town wearing their Brewers jerseys. There's like 6 or 7 different versions. Everybody had their jerseys on today, and of course they'll bring them back for Monday as well. But they keep the jerseys going around all year long. Yeah, it was a tough loss, a 4-2 loss. And this was shaping up to be one of those games again where here we are through several innings of the game, through 8 innings, and they got 1 run on the board, leaving guys on the base paths once again, stranding guys, bad at bats, helping out the pitcher. We've seen this before with this Milwaukee Brewers team, and I'm not starting off negative. I'm just being real on it. You know, that's how it works with the Milwaukee Brewers. So it was no surprise when that 1 run was on the board for 8 innings. And the pitching staff had only given up 2 for a while there until the 7th inning hit. Let's go to the 9th inning right off the bat, because that's the most intriguing. How about that? It's a 4-1 lead going into the top of the 9th inning, and Devin Williams gets called on for the Yankees. We knew he was going to pitch sometime in this series. Just, there was going to be close games. Devin was going to get the call somehow, and he gets called on opening day. Tried to make a first impression to Yankee fans. His first impression. And there's no tougher customer out there than a Yankee fan other than a Philly fan. And you could tell the restlessness. If you feel like there's restlessness at AmFam Field when somebody's out there struggling, well, there's a large coat of that out at Yankee Stadium, especially for a newcomer who's trying to make an impression. 36 pitches for Devin Williams on day 1. 36 pitches. And, man, he was up there at the pitch count. The changeup was not working. He was trying to locate the fastball, and he was all over the place. And the Brewers had an opportunity there. He had opened up the door, and the Brewers could not completely cash in, and they lose. They had the bases loaded, nobody out. They did get a run in on a sacrifice fly, but the 2 big at-bats, 2 guys you want up at that point, Jackson Chourio and Christian Yelich. Tying run on second. Bauer steals second base. And Chourio goes down swinging. And Yelich strikes out to end the game. Wow, you have your 2 guys there that you were hoping could get one in, get a base hit, maybe a little bleeder somewhere, little Texas leaguer, and we got a tie game. A base hit scores 2 there with 2 outs with Yelich. And with Bauer's on at second base, possibly, but still, they made Devin Williams work. He's probably not going to pitch on Saturday if it's a close game, I would say. Probably not again until Sunday because he pitched so many innings. I think maybe that's the good thing. He for sure would not pitch on Friday if the Brewers are playing him. And I don't think he's going to pitch on Saturday. We'll see. I didn't see or read anything about that, but I would think he'd be unavailable after 36 pitches in the first game of the season. But as I saw somebody on Twitter put, the Devin Williams experience. Welcome to the Devin Williams experience, New York Yankees. But, man, he was leaving pitches over the plate. Chourio had a couple of opportunities. Yelich, for one, fouled one back to the screen with one strike. He threw one, Devin threw one right in Yelich's wheelhouse, and Yelich wasted it back to the screen. Frelick had a nice at-bat before these guys and then flew out to center field. But Devin Williams, I mean, I'd still take him on the Brewers. I'm not going to let this, and, maybe the carryover of what happened last year, these pitchers. And Devin has got a great job. He's terrific slowing the game down. He does slow the game down. You've heard that mentioned many times. And he eventually did and got himself out of that mess. But, man, Yankee fans were ready to let him have it. If Chourio or Yelich sneaks one through and he blows a 3-run lead in the ninth inning, if he walks Yelich there, I think he's coming out of the game because his pitch count at 36, I think he's coming out of the game. And still the Yankee fans would have let him have it there. But he got off the hook. He struck out Chourio and Yelich, and that was it. Peralta was talking in the locker room afterwards. He said, it felt a little weird. Felt a little weird seeing Devin on the hill. But he goes, I can't lie. I was hoping we were going to get to him. Of course, because Devin's on the other team. Peralta's a Brewer, and Peralta takes the loss. We'll get to him coming up here in a little bit, as well as Jackson Chourio. It was a tough day for Jackson. What's the old expression? Mama told me there'd be days like this. And that certainly happened to Jackson Chourio. Golden sombrero +1, as I call it. We'll get to that coming up next. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thanks, everybody, for joining me, by the way, into a new season here on Locked On Brewers. We're here daily. I'm going to try to drop episodes Saturday after the game on Saturday. We're going to maybe a shortened version on the weekend, which I'll do on occasion, a shortened video on podcast, audio podcast as well on Saturday, maybe later on after the game. We'll see how things go. But hey, thanks for joining us as always. Ready for another great season. You've been, you fans, all your great comments and all that, and joining us all season long, last 2 seasons, really growing the channel and all that. Man, I can't tell you enough. Hey, PrizePicks, one of our great sponsors here. PrizePicks, the best in daily fantasy sports. With PrizePicks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. If you're right, you want up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs, PrizePicks keeps every game interesting. If you had Chourio not getting a hit today, you probably could have cashed in. If you had Ortiz getting multiple hits, well, you probably would have cashed in as well. You build your lineup and you pick your players. You look at the pitching matchups, who does well against who. I can tell you right now, Saturday, nobody in this lineup has really faced Max Fried of the Yankees, although Hoskins has. 6 of 32 career against them, 188. He's the only one who's had really a lot of at-bats against Max Fried, and 5 doubles for Hoskins. But I regress. You build your lineup, exclusive promos right here. Take advantage of Taco Tuesday, where PrizePicks offers discounts on select players, projections, and even more value. But you got to download the app, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB, $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's PrizePicks. Run your game. And I'm Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. All right. Jackson Chourio, the 5Ks. I mean, you almost smile about it because things have been going so smooth for the guy, and he's made things look so easy. Even in spring training, he led the team in hits. He's been so good, and we all know that. And still, even in the ninth inning, with 4 Ks in his back pocket, thought Chourio was going to deliver there because he's done so many times as a rookie last year. Only the second player in Major League Baseball history to have the Golden Sombrero +1, 5 Ks in an opener. I want to know who the last player is to ever have 5 Ks in the game. Last Brewer player. That would be interesting. I remember in opening day in 1978, Gorman Thomas had 4 strikeouts, and Gorman always tells a story. He had 4 strikeouts at opening day, and strikeouts were a thing for Gorman. And he thought he could play handball with a curb that day. He was just feeling so low. He's sitting in front of his locker, and the next day he was in the lineup. Bamberger, the manager, came over and said, "Don't worry about it, Gorman. You'll be right back in the lineup coming up tomorrow." And then Gorman went on to hit 32 home runs in 1978. But Jackson Chourio just had a rough day. His buddy Willie Adames wasn't much better, by the way, in San Francisco. He was 0 for 4 and 3 Ks. But just chalk it up to he's human. And as I said all off season, pitchers are going to make an adjustment to Chourio. They're not leaving fastballs over the plate. They're not leaving fastballs over the inner part of the plate, although Williams did leave him one. But the 5 Ks, he's going to have to make an adjustment this year, but it's only one game. And I have a feeling Chourio, Saturday or Sunday, he'll come up at a big spot and he'll deliver. So that's it with Chourio. Just not a big deal. Just all the expectations. And I was on a TV show today before the Brewers game, and they asked me my expectations, breakouts and all that. And the host said, 30-30 for Chourio. And I said, well, again, I don't want to put that much pressure on him. The MVP talk and all that. No. And Chourio doesn't feel any pressure, but he's still growing as a player. He's 21 years old. No, it's not a big deal. He had 5 Ks. I don't worry about it. I'm not going to say I could care less. It would have been nice. He would have delivered, especially in the 9th inning. But 5 Ks is 5 Ks. Not going to worry too much about it. One thing I didn't like, and I know it's a lefty-lefty thing. They pinch hit Garrett Mitchell with who was it they pinch hit for? Now I'm forgetting off the top of my head. I'm not in mid-season form just yet. They pinch hit Garrett Mitchell with the bases loaded. And now I got to look it up on the phone. Sorry about doing this. I got to go check because I was like, who did they pinch hit for? Off the top of my head, I should have wrote it down. The pinch hitter was, Isaac Collins. Of course, I tweeted something out on Ike Collins too. Yeah, Isaac Collins. They pinch hit a lefty thing during the game, and he bounced out because they didn't want Mitchell into the ball game. Mitchell had 2 at-bats. I don't know. I still, I know like managers like to play that percentage ball and all that. I'm still good with Mitchell batting in that spot. I'd rather have Mitchell in that lineup than Isaac Collins. And you think the lefty thing, would they have Yelich batting? Of course they would. They would not be pinch hitting lefty for Yelich. And Mitchell wanted him up in that. I would feel better with Mitchell up in that moment than I would Isaac Collins. And I know we all love ourselves some Isaac Collins, but I still want Mitchell up in that spot. But that's the way baseball goes. They're going to play the old lefty thing. I agree with it to a certain, because I get the percentages, but in this case, I want Garrett Mitchell. I want GM swinging away. And by the way, on the Vinny Capra home run, and who would have guessed Vinny Capra, who I kind of downplayed all off season, even though he was Mr. February at, there was a lot of emphasis on Vinny Capra in spring training because of what he did. He was the only offense through 8 innings. And if you could hear Lane Grindle, this was pre-planned. The Brewer broadcasters, after they checked in with Bob Uecker's family, they were going to use at some point, maybe the first home run at an appropriate time, the "Get up, get out of here, gone, a home run" slogan of Uecker as a tribute to Bob. That was fantastic. Lane Grindle aced it. Lane Grindle's been a friend of the show, by the way. Aced it on the Vinny Capra home run. Very, very well done, and way to go. Way to go. One of several tributes to the man himself, the awesome, the great, the voice of the soundtrack of our summer, Bob Uecker. Freddy Peralta. Freddy Peralta gave up 2 home runs. He gave up 2 solo home runs over the first 2 innings. He pitched 5 innings. Yeah, I thought he was all right. Freddie was fine. He's striking out guys. I thought he was fine. What do you have, 8 Ks? I thought Freddie was... And Freddie took a little heat on Twitter. Let's score him some runs. That's what I always say. Let's score Freddie some runs, and we're not worrying about the 2 gopher balls. Freddie's going to give up home run balls. This pitching staff is going to give up home run balls. Let's get that out of the way right now. We know Freddie's going to give up home run balls. That's just his thing. Okay. But let's bail him out once in a while. Could have helped by scoring him some runs. I'm more disappointed in the runners left on base again than Freddie giving up 2 gopher balls early on in the first two innings. And by the way, on the Capper home run, Capper did get the ball back. His first major league home run, at the age of 28, hit his first major league home run. Somehow they tracked down who caught the ball. They did it in busy Yankee Stadium on opening day. Somehow somebody tracked Vinny Capra, that home run ball, and he got the ball back. Got it back for a baseball bat and an autographed ball. But Vinny Capra got his ball back. Yeah, there was goofy plays. The Grisham using his hat to stop the ball on a ball hit by Ike Collins, by the way. Yeah, there was that happened. That's on the Brewers too for not going to replay on something like that. Brewers should have saw something on that. Somebody was asleep at the wheel there. Tough days for Yelich. 0 for 4. Played DH. Interesting. Not surprising. DH. 0 for 4. And of course, the biggest of that 0 for came in the ninth inning. We struck out to end the game. Hoskins was in the 4 hole. I've talked about this. God, this is like in January. I said, I'd love this. I want Rhys Hoskins in the 4th hole. And he took an 0 for 2. He had 2 walks. He had 1 really great at bat. It was the inning that Garrett Mitchell was pinch hit for later in the game. But Hoskins, 2 walks. I want to see him in the 4th spot in the order. And I like it. And I'm sure he's going to be in the 4th spot with Freed's out there coming up on Saturday as well. Sal Frelick was in the 5th spot, got a couple of hits. Ortiz had 2 hits as well. So Ortiz and Frelick, the only players with multiple hits. Let's get to Jared Koenig. There's some Jared Koenig stuff on the internet. And will he come down from the great year he had last year? Well, he pitched 2/3 of it and gave up 2 hits in the 7th inning. Those are huge runs because the lead expanded from a 1-run game. It was 2-1 to a 4-1 game. But those are big runs that Jared Koenig gave up. But again, you always got to qualify it. It's early, and especially it's early in the opener. The good news, got some good news on Brandon Woodruff. Some very good news on Brandon Woodruff. We'll get to that coming up next. It's what the Brewers did that provides the good news. That's next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, and I know some of you guys out there, a lot of you guys are getting up and heading on the road for your Friday, getting up early, and you are the guys who make our country go. And I'm talking about you tradesmen out there, skilled trades, Supply House, whether you're in a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House, the reliable way to order products online. I know my neighborhood, a couple of guys in my neighborhood listen to this podcast as they get up and ready for their 12, 13-hour day. And Supply House, I've told them about this. They've seen it on the commercials here, and they've taken part of it. Over 200,000 parts at Supply House from over 400 plus top brands. You'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Very easy to use website, packed with helpful resources, the latest product information as well. And if you ever need help with an order, Supply House, they got expert support, industry leading service. You can always talk to a real person. Trade pros looking for that extra edge out there, like my neighbors. Check their free Trade Master program, offering exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today, supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies, and all that with just a few clicks. Use the promo code HS5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Today's show is also brought to you by wonderful pistachios. And I get back from an afternoon workout, get out the yogurt, put out some wonderful pistachios in that yogurt, and it's one of the highest protein nuts out there. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber, better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep you fuller longer. So you like the no shells variety? It's a perfect grab and go when you need a snack in the morning or afternoon. Get snackin', get crackin' with a snack that provides a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more on it. But I'm telling you, you put some of those in yogurt, low-fat yogurt after a workout, and you're good to go until that fish fry on a Friday night with the family. Wonderful Pistachios give you over 10% of your daily value. That's Wonderful Pistachios. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com. Down the stretch we come here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. The good news about Brandon Woodruff, as he continues his rehab, he was not put on the 60-day injured list, so that's good. So that tells you he's getting closer. He's getting closer, because if they put him on the 60-day IL, where DL Hall is currently, that means that he might have had a setback or two. But he's, from what we're told and what he's been telling us, injury-free, pain-free, I should say. And so him not going on the 60-day IL and remaining going on the 15-day IL injured list, that is a good sign right there. Well, that game on Thursday, the Brewers opened up. Well, the Yankees were a 155 favorite in the game, and the line started tanking toward the Yanks. Started tanking toward the Brewers. It got down to like the Yankees minus 135. So looked like some of the smart money on there was on the Brewers. As I tweeted out, that line looks too good to be true. And it turned out the Yankees were ending up being the play after all, even though it looked like the smart guys out there dumped a ton of money on the Milwaukee Brewers. So the Brewers are not in first place. The Cardinals are actually in first place. They're the only team in the division that's unbeaten so far, because the Pirates got beat. The Cubs, as I went to the broadcast booth over here, they were up late against Arizona, like 8-5 in the 8th inning. So, but long way to go. As is the obvious. Max Fried, they got to face him coming up on Saturday. Now, Fried, the Brewers have faced him 5 times, including in the postseason in 2021. Yelich is the only one around from then. But 5 games he's pitched against the Brewers. He's 3-1 lifetime against the Brewers, a 2.43 earned run average. Nestor Cortez, going to be interesting what those Yankee fans, I was telling you about that earlier on the podcast, how those Yankee fans, how they're going to treat Nestor Cortez on Saturday when he takes the mound. And he's introduced for the Yankees after he gave up the Freddie Freeman grand slam for the Yanks last year. Some numbers I told you about. Hoskins is 6-32 against Fried. That's a 188 average, but those 6 hits, 5 of them are doubles. Bauer's 1 for 3. Yelich is 4 for 13. So the numbers aren't great against Fried, but does anybody really have any good numbers against Max Fried? I think this guy, I think he's the best left-hander in baseball. I do. I think he's the best left-hander in baseball. Just really good, crafty out there, and Brewers will have their hands full facing another left-hander coming up in Max Fried, and Nestor Cortez, the lefty, goes for Milwaukee. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the first game version of Locked On Brewers for 2025. Again, our 3rd season of doing this. And man, I appreciate everybody. Please subscribe. All the content is free. Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast. We're on all the audio platforms. We're the #1 Brewer podcast on the internet because you great Brewer fans. And of course, hit up our YouTube page. Even if you're on the audio platforms, go to our YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. And I know some of you guys have tweeted me today. I got back to some of you guys. I do get a lot of them. A lot of you, I mentioned, hey, if you want to DM me, I might not always get back to you right away, but I do get back to you. And you can hit me up on Twitter at Chuck Freeman, Freeman, FREIMUND. I'm hoping to see you guys this weekend, maybe a little bit later on after the game on Saturday, to drop a shortened version of a weekend podcast, Game 2 against the Yankees. So look for that. Set your alerts. It's going to do it. And of course, I always drop it on Twitter. It's going to do it. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.